In this video, I'm going to show you how to proof your yeast. You're going to need a half a cup of warm water, and you want it to be between 100 and 110 degrees. Any warmer than that, and you run the risk of killing the yeast. 1 tablespoon of sugar, and either 1 packet of yeast or 2 1/4 teaspoons. And you'll also need a spoon to stir it with. What we're going to do first is take our tablespoon of sugar, pour it into the warm water, stir that around and allow it to dissolve. And now we're going to put 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast into the water. If you're going to do a lot of baking, it is cheaper to go ahead and purchase your yeast in bulk instead of the little individual packages. And I'm using an instant dry yeast. We're going to stir this up. We want the yeast to fully dissolve. After the yeast fully dissolves, it will begin eating off of the sugar, and we'll see it begin to bubble and foam. If for some reason your yeast doesn't do that, then you know that it is not alive. The yeast is fully dissolved in the water, and you'll see that it's about 2/3 of the way up the measuring cup. You'll notice some bubbles starting to form, and what's causing that is the yeast eating the sugar that's in the water. That's how we know that our yeast is still alive and active. You can see the difference. This darker layer here, it's a little more clear. That layer is the actual water that's left, and this is all the foam that's being created by the yeast. As you can see, we now have a couple of inches of the actual foam there. I'm just going to kind of poke it so you can see how thick it is. It's about the stiffness of the meringue on a pie. You don't actually have to allow it to proof this long. As soon as you start to see it bubble and foam up, and you have at least enough foam to cover the entire surface of the container that you're proofing in, then you know your yeast is alive and it's good to use. If you have any questions about proofing your yeast or about using different types of yeast, let me know.